Every morning, Ethan Carter inspected the private dam his family had owned for generations. It quietly protected both his land and the neighborhood downstream. The peaceful view made it hard to imagine that this same place would soon become the center of a disaster. That afternoon, several expensive SUVs pulled onto Ethan's private road. Leading the group was HOA President Karen Mitchell. She walked toward him with confidence, already acting as if she owned the property. Karen claimed Ethan owed years of HOA fees. Ethan calmly explained that his property had never been part of the HOA. Karen ignored every document he showed her and insisted he would either pay or face consequences. Ethan warned them that the dam wasn't just a structure, it controlled water levels for the entire valley. Removing any section without engineering approval could be extremely dangerous. Karen dismissed his warning as an excuse. Later that day, Karen gathered the HOA board and announced a bold decision. She declared that the dam would be partially removed to recover unpaid HOA property. Many residents trusted her without knowing the facts. The next morning, heavy construction equipment rolled onto Ethan's property. No court order. No engineering permit. No approval from the authorities. Ethan immediately realized something was terribly wrong. Ethan made one final attempt to stop the work peacefully. He explained the legal ownership of the property and warned that damaging the dam could put hundreds of homes at risk. Some workers looked uncertain, but Karen demanded they continue. The excavator lowered its hydraulic hammer and struck the first section of the spillway. Small cracks spread through the concrete. Ethan knew that even limited damage could change how the water flowed through the system. Within minutes, the water began flowing differently than before. The current grew stronger around the damaged section. Several workers quietly noticed the change, but Karen refused to stop the project. Ethan immediately contacted emergency authorities after seeing the water pressure rise. For the first time, Karen realized something might be wrong. Downstream, the neighborhood continued its normal day, completely unaware of the danger approaching. Ethan immediately contacted County Emergency Management. He explained that unauthorized construction had changed the dam's water flow. Officials took the warning seriously and began dispatching emergency crews. Within minutes, emergency vehicles filled the narrow access road. Engineers quickly examined the damaged spillway and became visibly concerned. Their expressions confirmed Ethan's warning had been correct. Water continued building behind the damaged structure. The spillway could no longer release water as it had been designed. Pressure increased every passing minute. County officials issued an immediate evacuation order. Police officers moved through the neighborhood, asking everyone to leave calmly. Most residents had no idea why the warning had come so suddenly. Karen finally noticed the concern on every engineer's face. She realized the situation was much more serious than she had believed. Confidence quickly turned into regret. The damaged section began releasing water in an uncontrolled way. Engineers monitored every movement carefully while emergency crews prepared for the worst. The sound of rushing water echoed across the valley. The first streets downstream started filling with water. Families worked together to move vehicles and important belongings. Emergency crews continued guiding everyone toward higher ground. Water gradually spread across the neighborhood's lowest streets. Although most residents had already evacuated safely, many homes were now surrounded by floodwater. The scale of the damage became impossible to ignore. Karen stood silently as the neighborhood she managed disappeared beneath rising water. No one celebrated. Everyone focused on helping families remain safe while emergency crews continued their work. As floodwaters stabilized, investigators began documenting everything. Every damaged section of the spillway was photographed and measured. The investigation would determine exactly how the incident had happened and who had authorized the work. The following morning, county engineers began a detailed inspection of the damaged spillway. Every crack and every broken section was carefully measured. Ethan fully cooperated, providing maintenance records that dated back decades. Aerial surveys revealed exactly how the water had escaped through the damaged section. The photographs clearly showed the excavation work that had altered the spillway. Investigators now had an accurate timeline of the incident. Insurance investigators arrived to document the property damage throughout the neighborhood. Homeowners answered questions while evidence was carefully recorded. Every report pointed back to the same event at the dam. Inside the HOA clubhouse, board members held an emergency meeting. They struggled to understand how the situation had become so serious. The confidence they once shared had completely disappeared. Ethan gathered certified property records proving that his land had never been included within the HOA boundaries. The documents were clear, complete, and officially recorded many years earlier. The official boundary map removed any remaining confusion. The dam, reservoir, and surrounding land were entirely separate from the HOA community. The evidence was straightforward and easy to verify. Karen carefully reviewed the official records for the first time. Every page confirmed the same conclusion. The property she had claimed authority over had never belonged to the HOA. Residents gathered to ask county officials what had happened. Many were surprised to learn that the dam had been privately owned all along. They simply wanted honest answers about how the situation unfolded. Ethan and his attorney carefully organized every piece of evidence. Engineering reports, county records, and inspection photographs would help explain the complete sequence of events. Preparation became the key to presenting the facts clearly. Several weeks later, the county court scheduled a formal hearing. Both sides prepared to present their evidence before a judge. After weeks of investigation, the facts would finally be examined in full. The courtroom was completely silent as the hearing began. Both sides were given an opportunity to present their evidence. Everyone understood that the decision would affect many families. Ethan calmly explained the history of the property. He showed decades of ownership records, proving the dam had always remained privately owned. Every document matched the county's official records. The county's chief engineer described how the spillway had been designed to safely control water flow. He explained that unauthorized excavation changed the structure's behavior, allowing water to escape in an uncontrolled way. Investigators displayed aerial photographs taken before and after the excavation. The images clearly illustrated where the structure had been altered. The visual evidence was easy for everyone in the courtroom to understand. Construction records identified when heavy equipment entered the property and what work had been performed. Every timeline matched the engineering investigation. The sequence of events became increasingly clear. The judge carefully reviewed the HOA governing documents. Each page was compared against the official county property records. The legal boundaries left very little room for misunderstanding. Karen explained why she believed the HOA had authority over the property. She acknowledged relying on information she believed to be accurate at the time. The attorneys then compared her statements with the official records. The county surveyor confirmed that the dam and reservoir had never been included in the HOA development. The survey had been officially recorded many years before the neighborhood was even built. Both attorneys summarized the evidence presented throughout the hearing. The court had heard testimony from engineers, surveyors, investigators, and county officials. The case was now ready for a final decision. The hearing had concluded, but the decision had not yet been announced. Both sides quietly reflected on everything that had been presented. The outcome would soon bring the long dispute to its conclusion. After a short recess, everyone returned to the courtroom. The atmosphere was quiet as the judge prepared to announce the decision. Every person in the room listened carefully. The judge concluded that Ethan's property had never been part of the HOA. The court found that the excavation had been carried out without proper legal authority. The decision was based on certified property records and expert testimony. The ruling confirmed responsibility for the unauthorized work. County officials would now oversee the next steps under applicable laws and procedures. The focus shifted toward repairing the damage and helping the community recover. Within days, restoration work began at the dam. Engineers designed repairs to restore the spillway safely and strengthen it for the future. Ethan worked closely with the county throughout the project. Across the neighborhood, repair crews worked from sunrise to sunset. Families cleaned their homes, and neighbors helped one another recover. Day by day, the community began returning to normal. Karen reflected on everything that had happened. She realized how important it was to verify facts before making major decisions. The experience became a lesson she would never forget. Several months later, the restored dam operated exactly as intended. Calm water once again flowed safely through the spillway. Peace had finally returned to the valley. The community gathered to recognize everyone who had helped during the recovery. Engineers, emergency responders, and volunteers were thanked for their dedication. The day celebrated cooperation and resilience. Looking across the quiet water, Ethan smiled. He knew that protecting the land also meant protecting the people who lived nearby. Sometimes, patience and clear evidence speak louder than anger. The valley had recovered, the neighborhood had rebuilt, and the truth had been established through careful investigation. What began as a dispute ended with valuable lessons about responsibility, respect for property, and the importance of informed decisions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more HOA stories every week. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Tell us your city, state, or country in the comments below. See you in the next story.